Hi, I'm Chris from airwindows, and this is called Energy. I'm going to show it to you on a noisy, gritty guitar because the noisy, gritty guitar contains all the frequencies that Energy deals with. Bear in mind this is set up to work at 44.1K. You can use it at higher sampling rates, but the bands that it's operating on will be shifted upwards, and there's no way I can get around that because the bands it's operating on are based on a strange ratchet configuration that has to do with the samples, so it's tied to the sample rate. This is not a thing that I can undo and just make do something else. It's the way all of these bands work are literally tied to the sample rate, one after the other. But here's what it can do. You got an in dry wet, and we've got a series of sliders. Here's what snarl sounds like. And you can reverse it as well. So you can take stuff out, and then if you've got the invert going on, it turns it to the add. So you get to invert what you're doing or dial it back a little bit. And that's useful because these different tonalities all have their uses. Here's Yower. Oh, I got fizz up. Here is Chug. You can hear that is the frequency band for distorted guitars that has Chug in it. You can hear it started bringing it out. Or you can take it away. Here's Scrape. As you can hear, these are sort of all going up in pitch and hitting different frequency ranges over the 44.1K samples. So, for instance, Snarl and Scrape higher. Here's Fizz. Or maybe you'd like to take that out, but add Snarl. Bypass it. Enable it. Here is a rat. And boy is it ever. Or if you want to take the rattiness out, and add the Chug. Starting to sound better already. Let's go back to normal again. See, it's already sounding like it's doing something. Here's Glitter. That's sitting around 15K, that one. And lastly, Hiss. You can barely hear that on the guitar, so tell you what, let's throw on drum samples instead. Oh, and that's not how you do it. Let's shut off the looping and turn on the drum samples. Snarl. Yower is very similar with this one. You see, these guys were very different on guitars, but for this, check it out. The high ones will do more. There's hiss. And off. Back on. Now you can hear it. Very high boost. Or glitter, less of a high boost, but still very high. Or maybe rat, maybe you want aggressive. The hi-hat likes that one. Fizz. Different hi-hat sound. Here's the deal with energy. It's a really weird little algorithm that I don't believe anybody else uses because it's kind of ugly and nasty, but it has certain very striking characteristics. It has a really, really high resonance. It's a very tight little boost, but it is not linear phase, so it doesn't have a pre-ring. Instead, the sound just hits. It hits like a brick, and then there's a post which gives you the sound of it. So the difference between this and your typical crazy high boost, let's give it glitter. Sparkly as anything. But it's not screwing up the attack. The attack is clear as a bell. So this is a very good cymbal boosty thing if you want to do that. Or here, let's go back to the hat boost of the rat. That makes a good hat boost. And then if we go back to Golem, the guitar, you can get all kinds of mid-rangey voicings. Like a chug, take the rat out. Some of the fizz too. But add glitter. And add snarl. That's a very aggressive tone. And then invert it. You wouldn't want that. It's kind of unpleasant. Maybe a little less snarl. And glitter. And then if we turn it off again, turn it back on, that's energy for you. This strange algorithm doesn't exist anywhere else that I know of. And now it's available for VSD, for Windows, for Linux. The source is open, so you can use this code if you know how to code and you want this kind of crazy boost in there. You can see how it's done. It's pretty CPU friendly as well. And again, no pre-ring. All of the sounds hit super aggressively, so this is the techno friend. If you need to take some kind of sound and make it bite, this is a super effective way of doing it. There's also something else. Let's go back to the guitar again with our sound of extreme gnarliness. Consider what this would sit in the mix like compared to without it. When I kick it in, we've got this intense, very narrow bands of super intense, super hot frequencies, but it's not filling up the space and getting in the way of other things. So when you use energy on an element, you're probably going to want the element to be crazy boosted and psycho. But once you've done that, the element can do its thing and it takes up less space in the mix, gets in the way less. I'll demonstrate. It's a very lively sound. And I'll shut it off. It's just more opaque. Whereas if I turn it back on again, back off. That's the thing. Using this plugin lets you take elements that need to be strident, abrasive, aggressive, heighten that, take out things like the way that I took out rat and fizz, or I could just only take out, I could not add any glitter, I could only take out rat and not fizz. I could back off the snarl a little bit, leave the chug up, and I'll have this. Now that sound already doesn't have any bass, so it's not going to change anything. It would be extremely hard to extend this down to the bass. There'd have to be thousands of sliders. But for use in these aggressive, nasty, high mids areas, I think this plugin is really hard to beat. Airwindows Energy is now free, open source, all of the different little variations of VSTs and audio units and stuff. And I think it's been a secret weapon for people, and it's time for it to stop being a secret weapon and start being a very unsecret weapon. Because the thing is, as good as it would be as a secret weapon, behaving like that hurts me. I'm doing Patreon, and I depend upon people knowing what I'm doing and going and getting the plugins for themselves, and then being excited and grateful and going, I would have bought this plugin for $50 because nothing else does this, so I will support the Patreon for, say, $50 a year. That helps me. Treating it like it's a real secret weapon that nobody has ever told about, that doesn't help me. So that's just a request. Like, raise your weapons and use them boldly and share your information. As I do, I'm sharing all the information I can. I would say I hope you like energy, but depending upon who it is out there, I know you're going to like energy. So enjoy the hell out of it. And I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.